at the replay of the accident itself, looking down from the helicopter. Now, the obvious comparison is, of course, as you mentioned, Simon, with Jensen and Martin before, it's the comparison between this move, where they collided, and the move with Charles Leclerc, where they didn't. So I'm going to take a look at that with the Skypad's had a bit of a moment. There we go. We've got a freeze frame here, which is a side-by-side comparison of the relative positions. Now, what is interesting and is undeniable is that Hamilton is a little bit wider from the inside line. If we look at the distance between, let's say, Leclerc on the inside and then Verstappen on the inside, it's not actually that dissimilar. The difference seems to be from Lewis's positioning. So let's go on board with Lewis Hamilton. So these are the two different moves, right? So Verstappen on the left, Leclerc on the right. Now, watch this. Hamilton moves across to the inside. In both instances, I'm going to pause here. He's obviously much closer to the inside wall against Verstappen. Verstappen has squeezed him much more to the inside. So as we roll along, now Max moves over to give him a bit more breathing room. Hamilton also comes across. But at this point, his trajectory for the right-hand right Cops is still a tighter radius on the one alongside Max. Therefore, when he's alongside Max here, he gets that bit of understeer. Whereas when he's alongside Leclerc, he's able to get on that inside green bit. The camera, unfortunately, on the other side. But we know from the helicopter, he was actually on that green curve before he got on the curb. So he was unquestionably further to the inside. And that all stems from what happened further back on the straight, as I said. So there's the contact with Max. Leclerc, in the meantime, is a bit wider at this stage, but Lewis is further inside, so there's a bit more room. But I think ultimately, Max could have also given him more room. You know, when we go on board with Verstappen, we're watching him as he comes down the straight here. He moves across, comes back to the outside, and at this stage, watch his hands. He's turned in, now he sees Lewis, he moves out, and watch now, he does an aggressive turn in. At this stage, you could argue that Max also could have given him a bit more room, because Max is the one who has the runoff area on the outside of Cops that he could go wide on. We saw Fernando Alonso, for example, using that. So even after watching it again and again and again, my personal belief is, yes, it was still a racing incident. I think both drivers could have avoided the accident. Unfortunately, I think with the way we've seen the penalties this season, in Lewis's case, they came a bit harder on him because they felt he could have given Max, he should have backed out of the move basically and made that contact. So, but I still stand by the fact that I believe it was a racing incident, and both drivers, Max could have given him more room, Lewis could have backed out of it earlier and gone further to the inside. These were two hard-headed drivers who were being punchy, aggressive and feisty on the opening lap. And Lewis mentioned it himself. You know, you looked at it earlier in the season. He conceded when he went to Imola. He said it before in the the podium with Jensen. Earlier this year, this was Imola. And, you know, Max squeezed him out wide and Lewis backed out of it and had to sort of concede a bit there. And really, you know, this is no different to Austria. This is Barcelona. Max chucked it up the inside and Lewis had to back out of it and give him room there, and they avoided contact. And on this occasion, of course, neither driver gave any quarter. So Simon, I'm still going to say that they both could have avoided the accident. That's ultimately what my view on it is. This last one, by the way, was a sprint race yesterday where Lewis backed out of that one. Okay.